This meeting is being recorded.
Here it is. I found it.
Oh, hey. What's up? What's happening?
Not much.
Not much. Why not?
Recuperating,
So many people have had the COVID.
No, I had the Mexico.
Oh, that's a different type of sickness. That's a different type of sickness.
Does any of my local people have anything coming up for around 2.5 million?
I don't have anything for that. No.
Okay, thought I'd throw it out there.
Well, if you do, you know who to contact.
That's right, baby.
Mexico.
Hey, Michelle.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, good. Hey, all the stuff is out of the office here. So
Great.
whenever you're ready, you're
Okay,
welcome.
I will definitely be by and come check it out. I'm
Move right in.
awesome.
So while we're waiting for everybody to chime in, just a couple things here for events. February 12th here, they're doing another, they're doing a lead generation clinic at Placer County Association of Realtors. All the events can be found on brentgove.com, and the annual events can also be found there. So, again, steer yourself there and find a couple of events that you'd like to attend. There's also weekly lunch and learns that are occurring now again with local leaders both in the Bay Area and locally. So if you want to attend those, learn a little bit more about the model, and if your goal then is to grow your organization, certainly is time well spent going in, seeing how other people are explaining it, what's important to them. But then we're having Cabo. If you want to go, there's still some tickets available. And that's in March. Awesome event last year. And specifically, if you have some people who are interested at a high level or that you've been talking to, it's a great time to invite them. So take advantage of those, local events. Now, we are going to go ahead because we've got a lot of content today, which is great. We're going to go ahead and start the market review for the week, and then we're going to come back, ask for a little local feedback of what you're seeing and what your anticipation over this first quarter looks like. And then I'm also going to mention our specific organizational events that are going to be occurring over the next 2 months here. So with further ado, I'm going to go ahead and start the video.
As the spring home buying market is upon us, the real question that we're looking for in the data is not whether this boom is somehow ending, but rather how much more is it continuing to boom. The defining characteristics of this crazy real estate market have been the record few homes for sale in the face of this record high demand. That trend continues another week this week, even as other financial markets are super volatile. So Americans are still flocking to housing. Each week, Altos Research tracks every home for sale in the country. We analyze all the pricing, all the supply and demand, all the changes in that data, and then we make that available to you before you see it in the traditional channels. Traditional real estate data is monthly. So by the time it gets to you, it's kind of old news. So the news right now is that it's a hot market already for the spring. And the economic risks like rising rates or a falling stock market have not yet derailed that eager American home buyer. I'm Mike Simonson. I'm the CEO of Altos Research, and this is what the data is telling us right now. So this week, yet again, we've hit another record low in available inventory of unsold single-family homes on the market. Just 272,000 single-family homes for the entire country. In normal markets at the end of January, that's sort of the low point of inventory for the year. You can see in this chart, each year bounces along the trough. Each week is pretty close to the next. Some are up, some are down a little bit. By mid to late February, in normal years, inventory starts climbing. You get new listings coming on, but in normal years, you'd have fewer buyers while it's still winter. You can see that pattern here in 2016, 17, 18, 19, 20. Last year, at the end of January, inventory was still falling a couple percent each week. Buyers were buying faster than the new listings would hit the market. Inventory didn't stop falling until the end of April. That phenomenon is underway again this year. Available inventory declined by almost 2% again this week. We had to adjust the y-axis on the inventory chart here to allow for the lowest level ever. Based on the fact that inventory hasn't slowed its weekly decline yet, it really looks like we're probably aiming for the end of April again before we start to see a little inventory increase for the year. Speaking of that, the next week, February 10th, at 10 a.m. Pacific, we'll have our monthly webinar. In it, we take an hour to deep dive into the data. So one of the things we'll cover is the forecast of inventory trends for the rest of the year. So if you're trying to estimate or understand how the market is going to go through 2022, the webinar next week is for you. There's a link to register in the description below. Click that to join us. That's Thursday, February 10th at 10 a.m. Pacific. We'll include inventory forecast for the rest of 2022. Not surprisingly, the leading indicators for pricing are up too. In this price chart, we have two lines. The dark red line is the median price for all the homes on the market right now at $375,000. This is unchanged from last week and continues to be up well over 10% from last year. The more interesting story is the light red line here. The price of the newly listed properties is up 1.3% over last week at $369,900. Remember that the price of the new listings reflects all that the sellers and the listing agents know about demand in their local markets. They know how many bidders happened on the last sale. They know how many people are lining up for the open house down the street. And because these are all strong, they know they can increase the pricing on their new listing as it hits the market. So we can see this light red line here spike very quickly this year. All the signs point to another 10, 12 or more % home price gains for 2022. Even though, there are some of these economic trends that threaten to slow the market, those trends have not hit the actual housing data yet. If you follow the Altos data, you'll know that we have been tracking the immediate sales phenomenon for a year now. The immediate sales are the homes that get listed for sale and then take offers and go into contract essentially immediately. There are, this week, 25,000 of the new listings went into contract immediately. It's like a third of the market. In this chart here, the light portion of the line are the new listings, which were also immediate sales. The dark portion are those new listings which didn't sell immediately, like take a week or more. The thing to note here, the recent weeks, that's the right end of the chart, you can see the volume increasing as we'd expect for January, past the holidays. But the size of the light red portion is also increasing. That's showing us that each week we have an increasing proportion of the market going into contract immediately. So it's a third of the market, 25,000 out of 75,000 new single family listings this week. There's absolutely no signs of demand slowing whatsoever. And because immediate sales are both new listings and also new sales in the same week, here's the same data with the immediate sales plotted against the total absorbed set each week, those going into contract. So we started tracking immediate sales a year ago. You can see the light red portion of the line here as a proportion of the sales. And in this view, immediate sales is growing here too. You can see the rapidly climbing sales rate in January at the right end of the chart. I actually think there's more than just demand here that's allowing this number to increase. So more participants, sellers and buyers, understand that this is happening and therefore are more prepared for it. So the system is processing more offers and contracts more quickly. Last January, we were still in sort of a pandemic shock, and this phenomenon was much more of a surprise. So right now, 27% of all the new contracts this week were essentially immediate. It's really remarkable. Another bullish sign for future transaction prices are the price reductions. So the percent of homes on the market with price reductions, it's already fallen below last year's already crazy level. The way to read the price reductions chart is this. You can see each year's cycle. In Q1 and Q2, we have the most new listings hitting the market. As they come on, they're priced well, and they don't have to take a price cut yet. So the percentage of price reductions falls. There are always some homes on the market with price reductions. Sometimes those are accidentally overpriced, some are intentional, but there's always some on the market that'll take a price cut before they sell. So when overbidding is common, fewer homes have to take a price cut. So in normal markets, maybe 27 or 28% in January have taken a cut. Right now, we're under 20. Fewer price cuts now means the higher transaction prices in the future when these sales close. So in a month or two, February or March. Price reductions as a leading indicator of demand and of transaction prices right now is already stronger than last January, if that's even possible. Finally, today, days on market. The current days on market, median days on market is 56 days. That includes homes that were on the market, sat on the market over the holidays, the slower holiday period. What's wild here is that this is really the high point for the year. So the market time only falls from here. You can see last year, days of market was roughly 70 days when we started the year. Normal January might be 100 days, 3 months to sell your home. Right now, the high end of the market in the US, like the $1 million homes, the market time for these is about 75 to 80 days. It takes a little longer to sell the expensive stuff, but this is declining rapidly. What this tells us is that demand is across all price points around the country. It's not isolated to just $300,000 homes or super affordable homes or conventional loans or something. It's across the market. We will spend more time in the webinar next week looking at demand across price points. Okay, that's all the data we have time for today. As I mentioned, there's a link to register for that webinar in the description below. That webinar is Thursday, February 10th at 10 a.m. Pacific. Click that to register.
Okay, what did we hear there, guys? What's the bullet points that we heard from that? Great
inventory drop.
Really a great eight-minute spiel there.
What? The April should be the highest inventory. Do you think that's true? I mean, in our market here, in the Bay Area, Northern California.
Well, I don't know. He got Mr. Man comes from Los Altos, so he's right.
Yeah.
He's right in your back, your back seat there for where you guys are. But here are some bullet points that I heard that you guys want to create your narrative around your emails going out this week, or your social media, or the videos that you're doing for Market Update. The percentage of price reductions currently is the second lowest since 2015. Number two, we've got the lowest inventory that we've experienced in the nation since summer of 2015. Number three, the new list price was up 1.3% just week over week, predicated by the lowest inventory. So basically what we're saying is nationally, home prices rose 1.3% week over week. That's pretty amazing. 1/3 of the new listings went pending immediately. What's the volume of those new listings that went pending immediately? We had 75,000 new homes listed this week. 25,000 of them went pending right out the gate, day one. And the prediction is that currently at 56 days, at the end of January, that nationally, that's going to be the highest days on market we'll experience all year. Okay, so those are the market stats that you want to share with your sphere of influence. Anything else that you guys heard? And what are you guys seeing? What are you guys seeing locally or geographically? I know we've got a lot of SAC folks on here, but we've also got Hal and Samantha down south, and we've got Matt and Angela and Eileen and Lee, in the Bay Area. What are you guys seeing there?
Well, in Pacifica, we are seeing inventory jump a bit towards the end of January. Days on the market are very low. Things are going very fast. We are seeing some price over lists really jumping up to the 20%. It's definitely jumped into action, it seems like, from my perspective in Pacifica.
Okay. Well, I just heard of a house that in Granite Bay went 300,000 over list price.
It's definitely back to crazy again.
Which is just crazy. And I've got several buyers who are looking in the Lincoln area here, Lincoln Rockland area. And it's really tough to find anything decent right now under $1 million, which is just mind blowing. And even in Casa Verdera, it's like the house that would have sold for 1.1 million 6 months ago is now all of a sudden 1.5. So, it'll be interesting to see as inflation moves forward and what happens with interest rates and the rest of the economy, what happens throughout 2022. But the reality of it is, unless we get an onslaught of inventory that comes to the market, in a short window, in a short period of time, this seriously could go on for at least another 12 months. So check out the Altos webinar next week. You can always go to the YouTube channel and sign up for that. Matthew's on here and Hal is also. So Hal, we've got the event in Orange coming on February 24th. Is Hal still on here?
Yep.
Hal, you want to, or Hal and Rich, you want to give a 30-second idea of what that's going to look like?
I'll go ahead and go first. We're gonna have an exciting venue in the city of Orange. It's on the 24th from 9 to 12:30. Lunch will be included. We got a photographer on site to do some headshots for marketing. In addition to that, we got the one and only Sean Work coming down to do a presentation on pyramid of accounts, and looking forward to a great deal. Along with that, we got a special guest speaker, Rich Donnell, who is take it away.
Cool.
I'm having a blast. I'm going to be doing a thing called Loaded with Leads. And I can remember being a new agent at Keller Williams, and everything came at me at one volume. And I sat back and I thought, how do I develop a system that would help people go and get leads through each aspect of the transaction? So I took the softball diamond, first base, second base, third base, and home. And I discovered how is it we identify the win for each spot, and how do you get leads from each part? So leads, listings, contracts, and close. And that's going to be teaching people how to do that from anything and anywhere. If I was to drop you into anywhere USA, could you build your real estate business? Today, I could tell you in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. You took me to say, build my real estate business. Salinas, Southern California, you know, Pacifica. I could build my business in your backyard using your leads, using your listings. I don't have to own a listing to own a neighborhood. So this is, I mean, it's fantastic, but I'm doing a thing called Loaded with Leads for people that are new to the business and renewing their business. And it's just a blast. I'm excited about it.
All right. And congrats on the new baby, Rich.
Yeah, that'd be a shock to everybody.
Just kidding.
Sorry about that. Thank you.
No, we're just giving you a hard time, buddy. Okay, so then we've got March 3rd coming to San Carlos. We're expecting a lot of people. I think, I don't know if Matthew sometimes just
Yep.
chimes in. Matthew, are you there, buddy?
Yeah, what's up?
Hey, I know you've got a big turn, and before we dive into that, we've got Eventbrite links for both of them coming out like today, if you haven't seen them before. But Matt, I know you've got several people who have already committed. Maybe you want to give a 30-second spiel about what we're looking at on March 3rd.
Yeah, so we're creating an event on March 3rd for 2022 Top Producer Panel Kickoff. Right now, what we did was line up guest speakers, keynote speakers from, we're trying to get one of each company. We've got some great speakers, including Spencer Sue from EXP, Trang Dunlop from Taro, Deeson Kai from KW, Joel Poliak from Side. Thanks, Eileen. And we're looking for 2 more that we're working with right now from CB and Compass. It'll be a great event from 10 to 1. I already got over 50 people registered to the event. I have 4 different sponsors right now for the event, and we're trying to make it a lot of fun and include a lot of material really quickly throughout the event and make it lasting through our network. And we have 9 more events coming up this year.
Great. Awesome. Well done, Matt. Well done. And we got back from, for many of you that knew, I went to Puerto Rico for a few days, and the company is going to be launching about 10 different new initiatives, all centered around agent and agent growth. One of them will be, and I'm not going to take the steam or the thunder away from leadership, but 2 things that I will share with you. Actually, I'll share 3 things with you. Number 1, they're going to launch a new link where you can get directly to the broker room from your phone. So there'll be a URL that will log you right in, and so that you can get any questions answered that you need to get answered. Number 2, the company has just created a new department called for retention marketing pieces. So when you closing your first transactions, the top 10 people in California, those types of things, those types of characteristics of retention, very important. And so they've just launched a department that will be handling that. When you look in your organization, for many of you leaders who are on the call, the number 1 reason that people typically leave is because of price. And the second is retention. And the third is that they don't plug in. So I don't understand, for EXP, because the monthly fees are so low and the financial model is so great, the top of conversation was when you leave the retention pieces up to the individual organization, oftentimes many things are missed. And so the company's actually going to come up and boost us in that capacity. But what I will share is, and I'm going to send this link out later because they just posted the video. For you leaders, I did a nice talk on retention and what that might look like for you moving forward and as you're growing your organization. So we'll send that out, but just some topics of conversation. Number 3 is they're going to announce the new president, and it's half out of the bag now. I do not share this on social media, or in large organizational type settings, but we hired Mark Willis, the former president of Keller Williams and CEO of Keller Williams, to be the new president at EXP. Mark grew KW from 17,000 agents to 120,000 agents before he was let go by Gary. And so, he's just a great guy, very, very centered on agent growth and what's most important to the agent. And so I'm excited. So the thought process here, guys, is that there's going to be this new, even though we've got a lot of momentum right now at EXP, there's going to be this new wave of people who really love Mark Willis that are going to make the move from KW over here. We'll see how that goes. But expect about 7 other exciting new introductions to EXP or initiatives, I should say, not introductions, initiatives to EXP coming over the next couple of weeks. Good stuff, right? Anything anyone has to say before we get started with today's info or topic? Okay, well, you guys are always so talkative. So here we go. So today's topic is this: maximizing your lead, maximizing your prospecting time to build your lead generation and marketing company. I'm going to skip over some of the sides because or burn through them very quickly because they're very conceptual, and I'm going to get right down to the meat and potatoes of what this looks like for you for the rest of 2022. And one of the questions that I'm going to ask you today is, what did your prospecting schedule look like? And were you happy with how January turned out for yourself? I always look at January as the springboard, the launching block to my year, because January and February burn by pretty quick. We start to see empirically lots of inventory hit the market middle of February, right after Super Bowl. And then, we're in the heat of battle really from April, May, June, and July and August before we start to wind the year down. And so in many cases, if you haven't thought about these concepts, if you haven't penciled time to actually work in your business on many of these items, it becomes too late because you're in the trees, and it's tough to do the, to conduct the work on the internal business, when you're in the middle of the forest. But conceptually, I want you to think about, where your time is going. Many of us focus on this company B, which is the actual work, the actual internal work of the company, writing contracts and going over disclosures and meeting photographers and those types of things. There has to be this time that you spend preparing and building your pipeline. And that's the general concept of this slide, is that, the chicken definitely does not come before the egg, and the egg is your ability to nurture and utilize the sales cycle and your follow-up skills and your research and development and the target for who you want to do business with, in 2022. And so we talk about this, focusing on this company A versus company B. But for many of you who are new, and for many of you who are organizational leaders, you need to be sharing this with your first, second, and third lines. Last year, only 43,000 agents in America did more than 25 deals. And, in long term, we have a very low success rate. So what I want to focus on is the positives here, though, which is down at the bottom. We need to spend this at least 5 hours a week prospecting. Those who spend 5 hours a week make on average 200,000 a year in real estate. I would counter that and say, after you look at the money that you've expended and the tax base and your time, effort, energy, and your survival number, that even folks right now, I saw a freaking used Volvo, 10-year-old used Volvo that was like going for 30,000. Inflation is here. The cost of living is up. So we need to maximize this year to go out and make as much money and save as much money. But as far as conversion is concerned, when you get these leads that are coming in and you're spending money or you're spending time, effort, and energy, are you touching them enough? We talk about utilizing the KV core system, but if you don't have a electronic AI type system, it's very simple. I always say, just get your lead tracker out and write on there and check did I Facebook them? Did I message them? Did I LinkedIn them? Because the average person that touches somebody 5 times versus 3 times has a 40% higher conversion. That goes up even more as you touch them more. So reaching out one or two times for these people is not enough. And it's a good refresher that you need your database, your sphere of influence needs to be hit at least one time a week, no less than one time a week. And in reality should be hit more than that. There used to be that Gary Keller positioning book. Well, Gary Keller wrote the MREA off of positioning that says everybody in your database should be touched 33 times. Is that was 20 years ago? Is that enough with the fast-paced culture that we have of now social media and pop-ups and spam emails coming in and everything? No. In reality, I would suggest that everybody in your sphere gets hit at least 60 times a year. You're going to go, oh man, that's too many. But if you start thinking about it, market updates once a week, a phone call once a month, that's 24, or once a week market updates, 54 times right there, right? Or 53, however many weeks there is in the year. But set that up right now. There's no reason not to get these touches up. And then, again, we know that only 24% of sellers used the same agent that they bought with. So we've got a 76% failure, and it's right here because we're not doing a good job of connecting, staying top of mind for our people. So that's really the problem. So when you look at your company, your lead generation, advertising, and promotion business, if you had a checklist for these, what does your database look like? We know 97% of agents aren't utilizing their database properly. How are you tracking those leads on a weekly basis? Is it on a post-it note, or is it in some professionally designed manner or system that you can reach back and stay top of mind for these people? What is your marketing materials and your design look like? And are those dealt out? It's too late right now to be working. Here we are, February. We're going to get an inventory launch over the next 6 weeks. It's really too late to be going back and working on our marketing materials. That should have been something that was done in November and December in preparation for having a fantastic 2022. So if that's not done, now's the time to sit down at night when you're at home and you're exhausted and you go, okay, I'm going to grab a cup of coffee and stay up an extra 2 hours and knock this out. And the advertising and the logos and features, and don't be designing these, pay somebody $25 just to get them done so that you can hammer this out. Your time is better spent interacting with people. And what do the promotional events? What I love about what Matthew said is he was very direct. He said, and this is one of 9 events that we're doing this year. And that's because he sat down and planned it out and knows. He's talking about an organizational event. I'm talking about the promotional events for your clients who are buying and selling, for your agent, for your referral partners, and your gifts and your pop buys and your promotional events or mixers, and the campaigns that are going out on a weekly basis. These could be agent to agent campaigns. These could be social media campaigns that are going out or posts that are going out. And what did your vendor list look like? And do you have a video or PR stories? You see, all of these are your pillars of how you're going to attract business or attract people to your business. And so it's really time you sit down and planned strategically or tactically plan this out. What I will say is we had a great business planning clinic, and we really took time. I have extra packets of these, but we really almost lost it. We really took time to identify many of these on a monthly and a weekly and an annual basis of what you're doing to ensure that you're getting enough leads that are coming to your business. Ultimately, social media, training, growth events, your testimonials that you're getting from your clients, relocation. I've got somebody right now who just moved to Minnesota, and she goes, hey, can we get the list of 100,000 agent names for California and start marketing them, because people are moving to Missouri right now, Minnesota right now, South Carolina right now, and then the affiliate companies that you're wanting to target. So these are, when you sit down and you start doing some planning. Sorry, some people are trying to get them. These are what you want to focus on. Now, this is your lead generation, advertising, and promotion. Then we go into sales and prospecting. So this is hand-to-hand combat. Outside of promoting yourself and getting content to the world, which is really marketing, and we know we have to be marketing based and or prospecting based, marketing enhanced. how is your prospecting program looking? And the reason that we want to identify these guys is because here's the deal. If you're not organized, and here the analogy is this, who was on your call list today? And if you're sitting there going, man, I don't have a call list, I don't know who I'm calling today, I don't know where to get their phone numbers, I don't know who I'm calling tomorrow, then it's time for a timeout. Check yourself, utilize these lists to come back and grow. And so who is that? Who are we going to call today immediately for a listing? Well, it could be expires, it could be FSBOs, it could be your geographic farm, your demographic farm, your electronic farm, past clients, allied resources, and open houses, considering you could still do virtual, video interviews, sign calls, postcards. First, who could other targets be? First-time home buyers, investors, face-to-face, your lunches, your corporation, your business-to-business, which we've been talking about over the past couple of weeks, developers, relocation, and affiliates. So this is how, when we go back here, people go, well, how am I going to build this company A? What are the building blocks? What are the components? What's the foundation of company A? These are them, guys. So, if there's about 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, there's about 40 different means of securing business here. What I would ask is, what are your top 3? What are your top 6? For those of you who are rock stars, what are your top 10? And how are you leveraging those in 2022? So here's, again, this is a bit of self-realization here. So, look back in January and ask yourself, how much time and effort and energy did I really spend on building this marketing, lead generation, content, prospecting, face-to-face business? As far as hours are concerned, you can even break it down. What does your daily goal look like based on building company? And it should look like, hey man, I need to get a minimum of 2 leads a day, based on my goals. That's what I'm always saying. I'm saying that if you get 2 leads a day, that should, at the end of the week, that's 10, that's 40 a month, that's 480 a year. 480 based on a 10% conversion ratio of actual leads should lead you to 48 deals a year. And so if you want to rock the world, it's 2 actual leads a day. And then what does your current pipeline look like? Grade it from 1 to 10. If you don't have a pipeline, that's self-realization number 1. Where are you gonna put that pipeline? Is it in KV Core? Is it in a binder? Is it on a notepad? Is it on your iPad? I don't care, but you need to have this pipeline burning. And that's really when you, as a top producing agent, you go, okay, I've got this deal, or I've got these coming next month, these listings launching next month. I've got Margaret and Beth who are selling in April, and I know Bob and Melinda are selling in May. That's how you begin to think, so that you can insulate the roller coaster of real estate. How many hours over the past month were spent working in company A, and how many hours were prospected, and how many face-to-face appointments with the database or referral partners? These are 5 of the most important questions that you can ask yourself from a weekly coaching session. The second set of those questions are questions 6 through 10. How many touches went out to the world, meaning how many postcards and emails and social media posts and phone calls and all of those things that expose you to the marketplace. Touches equal exposure. Okay, kind of a weird, whatever. But if you're sitting there going, man, I don't have anything going out into the world today, then you're not getting exposed. It's like you have a retail store, and the doors, you've got all these products in there. You are the product because of your knowledge and your connections and your relationships. You are the product. But if there's no touches going on, it's like you have the doors to your retail store closed. And then how many contacts did those bring in? For those new agents, a contact is somebody who reaches back out to you. And then how did those equal leads and nurtures that led to buyer appointments? And then ultimately, how many contracts were written, sold, or signed? But here's where, if you look back at this past January and you go, man, I did not have enough listing appointments and I didn't meet with enough buyers, the prescription for that disease, if you will, is you've got to go back here and start with the touches. The prescription to not understanding where the touches are going is going back here and saying, man, where are these who am I actually going to reach out? Who is my target environment? Who do I want to go to? And I'll tell you this, guys, you can't just say carte blanche, I'm gonna market to everybody. There has to be a certain focus on who you're going to market to. Here's the deal. If I gave you a dart and I said, go ahead and throw it at that wall, where are you going to throw it? You'll just arbitrarily, oh, I think I'll hit something there. But if there's a dartboard on it and I said, go ahead and throw it at the wall, you're going to aim for that dartboard. So there's a mental aspect to this of where you're going to gear yourself towards. But the prescription, if there's not enough touches going out, is that you haven't focused on these aspects of your lead generation and marketing routine, system, expectation, standard. You see, you have to set a standard for yourself when you're talking about real estate, about building this company. It can't just be, I'm going to go to work today and hope I get some leads. That's not good enough. That'd be like me telling you to go to, if you're a car salesman, and go to the lot and, see what you can do. Hopefully you sell a car. Well, hope doesn't get any food put on the table. Hope doesn't get you to the realization of your dreams. And it sure as hell doesn't make you influential. So you got to focus on these characteristics of setting internal goals for yourself and discipline. What might that look like? It might look like, man, I'm going to start my day at 10 o'clock and I don't get to do anything until I get these 2 leads every day. No lunch. I don't get to leave the office. I don't get to go to any personal appointments, whatever it is. You have to figure out the way to internally motivate yourself to make that happen. And then, we look at this and we go, questions to consider. Well, this should be for the first part of 2022. Sorry, not the second part. So we're going to change that right now so that when we send it out, questions to consider for the first part of 2022. Based on your goals for 2021, and when you set there at same time last year and you go, man, I really want to do X amount of volume and volume in sales, or I want to do X amount of units, or I wanted to make this much money, would you hire yourself again in 2022? And it's a really good self-realization question, man, because men and women, because you are the CEO of your 2 companies and you have to think about that. You're not just a real estate agent, you are a marketing and prospecting professional. And you're really a marketing and prospecting professional before you're a real estate agent, the egg before the chicken. And so, many people ask, well, show me what this looks like. I know you're doing a lot of talking here, Sean, but what is the workflow of these 2 companies? And it starts with before the touches, identifying those sources, getting the numbers, putting a binder for each one of them together so that you know who to call every day. And then the touches go out. Guess what happens when you start sending things to the universe? Things come back like a slingshot. So touches come back to you in contacts that you can converse with and convince, like, now is the time, and they become leads because they have motivation. They become nurtures and then appointments. Once you have an appointment with them, then you move them into to your real estate world, where you're signing contracts and showing properties and negotiating on their behalf, and closing, and revenue and profit is coming in. So that's the workflow of what these 2 companies look like. And as we look at this, we're building our ability to nurture these people and to become a marketing prospecting expert really is the true road to success in this industry. I mean, you could be, for those you new agents who are listening, you could be the best negotiator in the world. You could know how to write this crazy new contract better than anybody else. However, if you don't have a client, your skills are worthless. So we really focus on sales skill and building relationships for longevity in this industry. And many of these organizational systems and support at a high level can be leveraged out. These are buyer's agents. These are listing specialists. These are marketing helpers. These are transaction coordinators. These are all those other support staffs, which are great. But guess what, guys? You have support staff and people you leverage these things out to aren't building your business. Your relationships and your ability to sell and market and prospect and become influential and share content and those types of characteristics are how you win in this industry. So we wrap it up and we say, okay, if we're not making daily contacts in our industry from the touches that go out, it's simple. Over a long period of time, we'll ride this real estate roller coaster and we'll fail. Not because we're not doing the work, but because the market will change. We've had such a strong market for a lot of people, a lot of agents, many agents making a lot of money. The reverse of that is that there's been a struggle for agents who represent buyers, right? Because they're rolling up against multiple offers. They're rolling up against multiple offers where they're writing cash, where they don't have strong enough buyers who can compete. So when we focus on all of these things, as I go back, and I'm going to click on these again, as I go back on these, your true focus once you dive into them should be on securing listings, not necessarily working with buyers. And so that's the key to making the contacts. Now, so what's the strategy here for continuing to make these contacts? Now that you know, okay, we're building 2 companies. I have to go out there and work on my sales skills every day. I need listings. The market's going to be hot this year, but inventory is probably going to be low. So I need to double down on my activities. And what does that look like? Well, number 1 is mindset. If you're not feeding your mind with good stuff every day, we'll and we're going to dive into each one of these in a moment, but that's probably the most important thing, is some kind of self-affirmation or discipline to get your mind in the right spot every day. But it's mindset, it's knowledge. What do you know about the market? What's happening in the market next year? What's happening with rates? What's happening with inventory? What's my own internal knowledge and how can I use that to help my clients? Overcoming the fear, getting organized, creating daily habits that ultimately yield your goals for prospecting and building a robust pipeline. You have one job for 2022. Write this down. Build a robust pipeline. A pipeline that what, Rich? He's got to unmute himself. Okay. How about now? Are you there?
Pipeline that produces.
A pipeline that throws up on you.
That's correct.
A pipeline that throws up on you. A pipeline that's overflowing with business, with prospects, with leads. That is your one job in 2022. And if you focus on the pipeline, everything else will follow behind you.
I have a good friend one time told me you should be forgetting stuff. It should be falling off the plate. You should be so full that it just keeps, you trip over it as you're walking out the door.
Is that true?
It's true.
It's true, right? It's true because and because what's fun about it, then you can pick the clients that you want to work with, and you're not so anxiety ridden because you're in a position of survivability that you go, man, I have to take this shit from this client because I really need to make this closing. If you have a robust pipeline, it'll keep you'll keep milking the cow and everything will be great. Okay, so here we go. Number 1, just diving into these. What does mindset look like? Many of you are scared to make the calls who are new. You're scared because you think, I'm new to the industry. I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know the market. I don't know the contract. I don't know behavior. So we have to focus every day on changing the mindset of an amateur salesperson becoming a professional salesperson. There's actually a cool list that I have that talks about the difference between amateur and professional. But do you think about yourself in a manner of, hey, I'm in that category of CPA and financial planner and attorney. I am that professional. That's the way you need to conduct yourself every day. And I've always thought about myself like that. That's why I keep office hours. Like I figured the attorney's going in from 9 to 5. He's going to court. He's doing his thing. The financial planner is doing the same thing. People are calling him every day. Hey, should we move our money? We've got to be engaged every day if we want to rock this industry. And the thing that puts you in control is your prospecting time frame in your organization. So when you're making outbound calls, you have the power. Here's the simple analogy. When you take your marketing or your boat out to sea, how are you going to catch fish? You expect them to jump on the boat, or you got to throw lines out. So you're in control when you're throwing continuously lines out and trolling for new business. And you've got to keep telling yourself, man, I'm going to have the best day, the best week, the best month, the best year. And I'm going to take action, and I'm not going to believe the 60,000 negative thoughts that hit my own head every day. And because I'm going to be around energetic people, and I'm going to read books, and I'm going to build my sales skills. And you got to understand that you got to operate outside of your comfort zone to grow. And we do daily affirmation, but ultimately you say, decide that today is a new start for your business, and understand that a robust level of clients are the key to your success. And then we've got these things, mindset of amateur person. Of the amateur salesperson, I'm not going to go through all these, but there are a couple. And the number one is an amateur salesperson calls prospects or clients back when they feel like it or it's convenient. There's no premeditated time to call. They see sales calls as an obligation rather than an opportunity. I think that's the biggest mindset change. When you do an open house, you don't see it as an obligation. You don't see it as a negative thing. Man, I got to be here for 3 hours. No, it's an opportunity to go out and impact somebody else's lives, while at the same time having a mutually agreeable benefit for myself that I can go and make some big amount of money. But the professional salesperson, they do a lot of the heavy lifting to be successful, such as prospecting, cold calling, networking. And there's two different types of people there. If you're a networker, get out there, get to the networking events, start your own networking event. And if you're not a relationship person, pound the phone and make some extra connections. Okay. I'm not going to go through these, but second is habits. So our habits are surrounded by our daily goal. And if you don't have a daily goal, now's the time to write that down. What is my daily goal? Because otherwise you're really rolling the dice every day. You don't know what the hell is going to happen to your business. You don't have the premeditated thought of, today I'm calling it expires. Today I'm going to a networking event. Today I'm going to go do pop buys. Today I'm doing this. Then you seriously are rolling your dice, and it's the problem in our industry. Too many dice rollers. We've always talked about the 55111. Anybody know what the 55111 is? Okay. Well, it looks like we need to talk about it again. 5 new contacts a day, 5 follow-up calls, 1 social media post, 1 appointment set for the next week, 1 greeting card sent out, and 1 addition to your database on a campaign. And those cover that 1 hour. If you did that every day, 55111, those are the touches that are going out, and you can then create some expectations based on your ratios. Number 3, if it's not in my schedule, it doesn't exist. Follow this. If you have a blank schedule, if you're looking at next week, you don't have any appointments for next week, today's your day to fill them up. And then next week is the same time. I want you to think every time you're on this Wednesday call, what does my calendar look like for next week? And if it's empty for people that you're meeting face to face, or empty for listing appointments, or empty for contacts or connections, or for referral partner listing appointments, or whatever it is, even touching your databases for going out to lunch, there's a problem. We can run back and have our theme prospecting days of well, I think I have them here in a minute, so I'm not going to go into using your lead tracker, your daily routine, and your role play, and your power hour. That's your 1 hour to do your 55111. You can go out and preview homes and understand the market. Here's where we sum it up. Just like before, we said we're getting, in mindset, our mindset needs to be, we need a robust number of clientele willing to do business with us. For habits, we have to understand that inconsistent prospecting equals failure. If you don't know who you're going to call, and this should actually say 2022, right? 2022, so that when we send it out, it's right. it's correct. But the level of inconsistent prospecting really equals a form of internal, what's the word I'm looking for? Compromise. Okay, how about that? Internal compromise. But who are the 30 people that you're going to call in the habit Mets that you're going to generate for 2022? Number 3, organization. So if you have drama in your daily life, your daily work life, it means you have no design to the day. Think about that. So we got to put some structure around our work day. We got to know who, what, when, and why. Who we're calling, what we're going to say, when we're going to call them, and why we're calling them. And we got to maintain that daily goal, just like I said, without compromise. Maximize our distractions and focus. If that means shutting the door, not logging into Facebook, turning our text messages off, then we got to do that for that hour so we can pound through it. But again, as far as organization is concerned, if things aren't calendared, there's no urgency to those. If they're not calendared, it creates procrastination in your daily activities. So what does this mean? Our organization comes before our goals. It means that to get to the money, we have to first have the appointments. So if you're money driven and you go, man, I want to make X amount this year, guess what, guys? The organization of the touches and the contacts and the appointments yield money ultimately. What are your 3 pillars of concentration in company A? Set up your environment for success. And, again, if you want control of your business, understanding those dedicated pillars and prospecting means is the center of that and the goal to that. Again, you can outpace your competition, understanding that, only 3% of people or of agents who are operating in the real estate space are constantly using their database and CRM. Number 4, overcoming fear. So the idea here is that you get uncomfortable ASAP. This means pounding out the phones, meeting with referral partners. Somebody said last week at the mastermind, because they were talking about fear and why people don't get into action. And if you're going to go do a pop by or make a phone call and you have this weird sense, some people might call it nervousness. The mindset tells you, call it excitement. There's opportunity on the other end of this. There's somebody that I can help, and there's a financial plan. There's a financial win for me at the end of that. So change nervousness mentally into excitement. Fail fast, fail faster than your competition, fail 100 times faster because you'll be on top. You have to understand that failure is inherently part of this business. Rejection happens, and there's these 6 methods of rejection. Your mind tells you, man, it's called, Tom Ferry calls it the 6 moves of rejection. Basically, what that says is, I don't want to be rejected because it's going to make me feel bad. And when I feel bad, I'll perform bad. And if I perform bad, I won't make any money. If I don't have any money, I can't survive. And if I can't survive, ultimately, I'll die. And you got to understand that it's a fallacy that your mind is trying to trap you into. So, you have all this opportunity out there. You have so much opportunity right now, but the mind is going to be the thing that holds you back because there's this fear of rejection. Understand that. And as you look at overcoming fear, and we've only got a few more slides here, about 3 more slides. As you look at overcoming fear, you've got to trick your mind into say, man, I'm excited about overcoming these objections. I'm excited about learning new ways to script and new ways to talk to people and new ways to connect to people. Understand what your tone and your dialect and your expression and your psychology and the way that you're talking to people. And if you're standing up or sitting down, all of that matters. Questions and solutions are the key to appointment setting and closing. Don't make statements. We've talked about the QBS system a lot over these past couple of years. Question-based selling. Use agreements and transitional phrases that make you less aggressive. Instead of using but, we use and you can tell them, Rich, I really like you. I think we can do business together. Are we on the same page, Xander? I can appreciate that, Angela, but what do you think if I said this? Eileen, what if I could help you with that? Matthew, has there ever been a time when You were wrong before. Has there ever been a time when somebody tried to help you like this and it didn't work out? And, you know, Lee, let's move forward and sign the contract. Let's move forward and get together. Let's move forward. And can you invite me out to take a look at the property? Okay. Use those transitional phrases because they'll help you. And here's the deal. If you can handle or know what to say, you will call or visit anyone. If you know how to handle the objections, you will want to call or visit everybody. That's the idea here, guys, that you're so well versed, you know what you're talking about, that you want to call or visit with them because you think in your mind, I'm the best option for them to succeed in real estate. All right, we got 2 more slides here. So solution 5 is knowledge and understanding. There's a difference between knowledge and information. And here's what I mean. If I'm a surgeon, I'm going to understand everything about performing a surgery that comes in a textbook. That's what you guys are listening to right now. You're listening to the textbook. Here's what you should do. Here's some tactics and techniques. That makes no bearing. That takes nothing into account when you're in the real world. So understanding how to perform a surgery is very different than being in the in the room with a knife or a scalpel in your hand, getting ready to cut on somebody. Getting ready to cut on somebody is the knowledge that I'm talking about. So you got to strive not only to understand the information, but to be in the operating room. So this is scripts and appointment setting and role play and objections and in-person face-to-face meetings and listening and reading and coaching and working on that mindset. And I just explained information versus knowledge and analysis and contribution and longevity in the industry, understanding the market conditions and where your marketing has to move to. And the following: rates, new listing, days on market, pendings. And it's so easy, but we forget it. This is spoon fed to you every morning from your MLS. So you need to jump in there and understand what that looks like. And just like we talked about for market updates today, what is your narrative? Are you going to log off this call and go to social media or your email and send out the narrative for what the current market looks like? That's up to you. But you're the one creating this business. You're the CEO of the company. And I sure as hell would bet if I was your chief marketing officer, as soon as we got off the call, you would expect me to go to social media at our company webpage and post this information. That's what it means being the C-level person in your own business. And so as we wrap up, massive action, face-to-face appointments, business-to-business appointments, getting back into your database, massive accountability with the 55111 and holding yourself accountable to your 1 power hour a day. 1 power hour equals 200K worth of income. Rolling back and doing your theme days for business to business and referral partner and database and leads and corporations. Join 2 networking groups immediately. When you log off today, go online and find out what networking groups you can join. If there's not one that you can find, make one. Your time to be a leader is now. Add to your database every day, including who's out there who you haven't met. Establish a start time and an end time every day with a focus on your green time, which green time is your money-making prospecting time. Establish a list of 30 influencers and prospectors that you can meet. And implement a business-to-business referral program that we've been talking about over the past couple of weeks. Okay, we don't want you, ultimately, going back to that main page, we don't want you to be a statistic. We want you to succeed. Your key to success is these things and understanding how to get those organized so that touches are going out every day. All right, a lot of info, right? Just find a place to start. And it starts with taking the slide deck and saying, here's what I'm committing to do every day, when I'm committing to do it, getting organized, getting those people in a binder, setting your green time every day, setting a start time and an end time every day, and going after it. Okay? Have a fabulous day. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.